Hi friends, it's Chris here. Out here in nature, feeling great, feeling wonderful. I'm going to talk to you today about thought patterns, about colliding with other selves in your reality. Right. So when you're walking around and you have much awareness, and you're coming in contact with yourself, so you've already gone and cleaned out all your insides and you purified yourself and you're 100%, and so you don't have much to think about, other than making sense out of all this love that we're feeling these days. All this, you have a free mind now, so your mind's free and you're free to use it, and so you don't have much to think about, much of the other stuff. You don't have any issues, there's no difficulties, there's nothing going on. Everything's perfect. So everything's perfect, and then there's only these other selves who are in the hallucinations that things are not fine, nothing's gone in their way. All these things, all these hallucinations, they feel like, they have issues, difficulties they're dealing with. They got this to deal with. They got all this. So when you're walking around, you have all this empty thought forms that are just, any moment you could go down any of these little pathways and cook up this whole infinite universe through that first thought. And if you would like to proceed with that thought, go down that thought pattern, have at it. It's just going with these selves of walking around. When you have that much free space, you'll pick up on their frequencies they're pushing out, their thoughts they're pushing out, their lack of awareness. You're feeling, and they'll be, I use the word gravitated. They're kind of attracted towards your thought form, your thought pattern. If you're on a thought pattern, say you go with that one, you create this whole universe with that thought pattern. Well, now you're walking around in your natural existence area that you live around, and so you're say here's all the selves. They're all driving around and they're doing their vortex daily routines. They're doing this. They have this thought pattern they were on since the morning, and they already have set their whole day from the initiation of that thought pattern. They don't have free possibilities. That's just the thought pattern. And so the whole day's already determined now from that thought pattern. And they're just going to go through it, and they go, ha, through every experience and not really look at the rosebuds, not really smell the nature of the excitement that's always here. Right, so your thought pattern is much more bigger, much more expanding, much more vibrant. It has a lot of charisma in it. That could be the right word. It's very much alive. The thought pattern you have, it could go in any way, any direction, any possibility, all possibilities within all possibility at any moment. And in any of the moment that we're in, the only moment, right? So you're out there, you're going around. Okay, your thought pattern's guiding everyone. Your thought pattern's guiding everyone. And so everyone's going with their thought patterns, but now their thought patterns are being increased because your thought pattern is ever so climbing. So now their thought patterns of, going to the store and I was going to grab a Mountain Dew is now changed from, because your thought patterns in the motion of all their thought patterns are now have all these possibilities that are now appear within because their minds are kind of freed for the moment, because your mind's so freed. It's so free, limited, unlimited possibilities that, whichever way you can take your thought at any given, in any of the experience, motion you're experiencing. Their thought patterns are now giving them more options. So instead of going to get a Mountain Dew, because you're thinking about this imaginative universe and you're not associating with their thought patterns have to associate with yours. So now that's a good thing. It can be a little annoying. You could say that word, right? It's not really the most attractive word to say, but it can be a little annoying. And so now their thought patterns are coming towards yours on account of how broad yours is. Now there's the Mountain Dew is no longer just their only thought pattern. Now it's, okay, I'm gonna go do this and this and this and this and all this, and they just keep going with it. Because it's just that they're just a biological computer. They're an ego that thinks it's a thought form, and then it's just going with all these suggestions. They don't know that they can. Hey, these are just suggestions. These aren't my thought forms. These are just filter thoughts coming through a consciousness filter, and all these thought forms coming out of this filter are not what I have to go with. I'm not being forced to go with any of these thought forms. They're just suggestions. Instead of looking at them like, okay, this came out of my brain, out of my mind, out of my being now. Okay, I have to go with it. Okay, I'm already on the route. And you say, wait, no, I'm conscious of this thought. This was generated. And I now look at it from a consciousness and say, okay, no, Mountain Dew. No, I don't want the Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, that was a programmed thought form came up. And I don't want the Mountain Dew. I want to go skateboard down this walkway. Right? So you're out there, you're walking around, you're imagining. Okay, I'm gonna jolt in with this right now. It's hard to explain this stuff. Okay, bear with me, guys. It's hard to explain this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to do a little. Okay, so there's 5 cars coming here. You're walking here. You're infinite awareness. They think they're thought forms. Okay, so their thought forms are coming this way. Your thought form's going this way. Now, because you're aware of everything, you're aware of this that's coming at you from their attention, and they think they're only a thought form. So now their full self is aware that someone's aware of them as just a thought form, and see them acting as this program thing that's not them. So now they're attracted to this thing that sees them in their genuine golden nature, and it can get complicated some days because you're looking to just go freely express yourself without having any of this, extra awareness of them being aware of you while you're aware of everything. You don't want to even have them be aware of you, because then you're now thinking about, okay, now I have to act like this as if I wasn't aware that they're aware that I'm aware that they're unaware. So I have to continually skateboard genuinely as if that's not even the case. So with that being said, here's a way to just get out of all that. Use your imagination. They're not using their imagination. They're just thinking. They're just thinking up storms of thoughts that are not even relevant any day. They're just flowing, overrun of running thoughts coming out. And because you're aware that this is how they're acting, this is kind of like influencing your thought. Okay, well, my thoughts are speeding up now. Okay, why is this? Oh, right. There's 10, 50 selves over here who are just random, who are just like increasingly I won't say randomly, because I don't really think much of a randomness. I think everything is determined by reactions and actions. So like these are all happening for reasons, logically explained reasons. So they're generating a bunch of thought, and now your thought's increasing because everything's interconnected, and because your super awareness is generating all these bigger thoughts that they're influencing you to generate. Now you're like, okay, why am I don't want to be thinking this fast. So, okay, all these selves are thinking fast. Now I'm helping them, they're helping me, and I don't really want to have to be doing with any of this. So just use your imagination, and all of a sudden they're really focused because they don't have any thoughts anymore, because you just kind of like vaporized them by imagining something, really seeing it. You're really seeing it. You're seeing all your mind's energy spit out, like spewing out your brain, out your frontal lobes. All these white lights, all these connections you're making from within to out. All the trust is there. You're seeing your imaginations. You're really manifesting. You're summoning. Like for me, I'm summoning Mario into my reality. I'm seeing him. And he's doing a spiral, hitting the box. Ding, ding, ding. I'm seeing that. It's no longer a memory. I'm seeing it. And so when I see that in my reality, these other selves who were just generating thoughts, and that's their whole existence, they don't even know what they're doing, they become focused now on something that's important to them. It's like I override all their thoughts that they be having, and now they just, okay, I have awareness now. Someone's summoning Mario in my reality. I'm going to go and do this at home. I'm thinking about cooking a nice meal tonight. I'm focused now. I'm going to this. I ain't looking at that guy over there anymore. I ain't concerned with the way this girl just stopped at this red light. And now how I would have thought with their programmed ways of thinking, I would have honked the horn and said, hey, yeah. Right? No, now they're like, okay, I'm in my mind now. I'm going to the store. I'm going to grab some beets and some of this, and I'm going to make a real fantastic thing. Because this Mario that I am seeing walking through cars, is giving everybody this awareness to stop going with all this generated thought and start consciously generating thought on something they would really like to do later in their reality, in their experience, in their life. So, yeah, that's helpful. Use your imagination when you start feeling other people's thought forms coming towards you, like, because this realness is being brought, and their thought forms are now attracted to think about the realness. You use your imagination, and it kind of just like eradicates that whole process and just puts them on their own path, their own thought that they would like to be thinking. They don't want to be thinking about other people, but they can't help it because they're in programs. They think they're just a thought form that's attractive, and they go with the thought. They say, I'm going to look at this thing over here, and the way they're doing it, it's all, they don't want to be thinking about it like that, but that's all they think they have awareness to think about. That's the only, it's coming out of if it's generated, and they're going with it. And they're not aware that they can go, snap, snip, nah, I'm going to go this, okay, he can do his life, they can do their life, I'm going to go and do my life now. They don't have to just, their thought forms are going to be attracted to something vibrant. That's how it works. If they have an unvibrant thought form, and then they're going with this, now I'm all bored and boring. Oh, look at this person, looks like he's having ecstasy. He's experiencing ecstasy. He's smiling, he's looking at the sky. Sun rays hitting him, wow. Like, what is happiness? Is that happiness? Oh, how is he experiencing happiness? He's just looking in the sky. Right? I have all these thoughts. I got this done. I got to do this. I got all these applications. My phone's ringing. What do I do? Right? So use your imagination, and none of that will even happen, because then they can't keep up with you. Also, if you have a very fast processor, you can go and think like 10 times the speed they can, and then they can't keep up with your thought patterns. So if you're going this way, you've already had the thought pattern. All right, let me stop for a second. When you begin to do something, you already see yourself doing it. And any action you take outside of that first initial visualization you had seen yourself do is going to be less than authentic, or it's going to be less than the way you truly want to do it. You can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to throw this rock over there just like that. When you see the rock, and you say, oh, grab the rock, I already saw it, I'm going to throw it, I'm just going to pick it up. But then if you start to do it differently than how you originally had already saw yourself throwing it, that's when you start to more personally customize the thought, rather than just had gone flowing with your intuitional thought the way you would have done it, already been done by now. Now you're going to do it more to your personality. Okay, so when you're walking on the street, okay, if you're the most vibrant consciousness, if you have the highest vibration, okay, vibration rules. So highest vibration leads the charge, leads the actions that are taken, okay? Like this butterfly flaps its wings, okay, this is the most vibrant consciousness, this is the highest vibratory rate being, he flaps his wings, everything are going to now flow with that ripple, because that ripple's the strongest ripple. Everything's going to align with the ripples of that butterfly, because that butterfly is vibrating much faster than all the other butterflies. So now the other butterflies are going with that butterfly's vibration, which leads them to have different experiences than the vibrational patterns they were emitting, because now they're gaining more faster vibrations. See what I'm saying? So say you're walking down the street, you already see yourself walking down the street, you see how you're going to walk down the street, Okay, now you start doing things different than how you started seeing yourself. That's when everyone else will start to, like, that's when maybe like a car will come and hit another car because it was got a little whiny for them. They weren't aware to be aware of all the awareness that was being changed in their immediate field of awareness. Okay, you're walking this way, you're bouncing the ball, and then you get a spontaneous, you're going to bounce the ball like this, but as you get the spontaneous bounce the ball like this, you decide to bounce it like this instead, and then you decide to just go back the way you were doing it before you even had any of those thoughts on how to bounce the ball, okay? The grandma over there, since you're the highest vibratory being, she now had like 4 different switch-ups in her way of processing, and then she fell because she couldn't keep up with all that thought that was being generated, and then you went and switched it right back. But that aside, if you look at a different lens and say, okay, now she did this and this happened, and a guy came up to her and gave her roses because of all those little switches, just look at it that way, right? Look at it a positive view, positive lens, see everything positive, and it will be. Thy will be done, right? That's how it is. That's how it is. But this is all generated thought for me because I got on that idea of thinking 10 times faster than they can. So if you can see them reading you, all of a sudden just see yourself doing what you're doing in like 50 different ways. They say, okay, I'm going through, okay, I walked through a portal, okay, came out of the ceiling, I jumped through the walls, my body split into 5 people, came back into 1. They can't keep up with that thought. They're reading you, and now you have to like, okay, someone's reading me, I have to continue doing what I was thinking without influence from them reading me, changing the way I was going to do what I was going to do. Had they not started reading at me as I was doing my thing, you just start going, putting all these extra thoughts and say, okay, I can't read him anymore. I'm going back on my day. So you don't even know why they're reading you. They just have no choice. They feel like they have no choice. They say, my thought form is making me think this way. I'm following the thought form because I don't think I have control over my thoughts. So now I'm going this way with the thought. If I was conscious of myself as a human being, experiencing reality through a human being, then I could stop the thoughts from taking me and start putting thoughts to take me where I'd like to go instead of having them just bring me everywhere. Say, oh, this one's bringing me over here, and this is happening, so now I'm going over here. Like, another thing that can help you gain your perception that you would like to hold would be to see everybody's cords, see their beam of light that connects them in the faster dimensions, the more vibrant dimensions other than the 3rd dimension. Okay, this cord goes all the way. It goes to source. So you start visualizing a cord coming from their head, and you see a big light body around them. And when you're, if you know who you are, those who are doing this, when you see that light body over them and you see them lights coming out their head and you start imagining sparkles and glitter all over them, and so you're like just like that. You're even bigger than that. If you're seeing them like that, that means you see yourself like that. So if you see yourself over them as a self that's like vibrant, beautiful colors, almighty, prime, conscious universe creator on them, they feel that awareness. They know where it's coming from. Their self understands, okay, someone around me is conscious of themselves and is seeing me as I really am, because I'm not doing this, because my ego, my personal computer doesn't know how to do this yet, but I'm feeling how I would feel had I known that I can do this myself. So you're seeing yourself over them. They're now gaining heightened awareness. They, if they're looking down like this, and they're looking at the ground, they're going, and then you see this big light being over them. You see these cords going up to the stars. They're now looking like this. Everything's perfect. They get that little moment of clarity. Things like that. They help raise your perception. Same with cars. For me, I always vision a car like a bumper car, right? In the amusement parks, they had those. So here's the car, right? And they got that cord going up, and the sparks are going at the ceiling, right? It's a car, and it's in these little carvage ways. You see cars with those as well. You see them for what they are. They have those cords coming from them. And then this will help you, I'd say, help you guide the energy, help you guide, like, because when you're conscious of yourself, you changing your reality every moment. Everything you say to someone, when you hold that vibration, you're now going to give them vibration. It's going to help them. It's going to generate that, and then you're going to create this whole scenario. So you got to be conscious of what you're saying, because if you go up to these people and you start saying things, the conscious prime creator, they're going to feel it, and then they're going to react in however you put it out. So what I'm saying is, you're directing your reality. Okay, you've seen people, like, it changes the reality. He's now changed. He's now seeing it differently. You see it now. This person was going to this way. You went this way. And you saw him like that. You saw yourself and you passed paths like this. Things are different now. And it goes much more once you start experimenting with this on your own levels, and whatever level you're on in this moment, or however much awareness you're rocking with. Right, you're the creator. This is all you. This is me. I am Gaia. I am the river. I am the wind. This is really important. So it comes down to a perception of how you see your reality. So it's a reflection. Your world is a reflection of what's going on within you. Okay, when you become aware of what I just said, it will make immediate sense to you. Your world is a reflection of what's going on within you. I'm going to give you an example, okay? The birds chirping. The birds chirping is a reflection of how you're feeling. If you're not hearing any birds, if you're not hearing any dee-dee, dee-dee, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, if you're not hearing any of that, that means that there's either some chatter going on within you, or there's some ideas you're still having, you're fluctuating over, you're still getting at them. If you're balanced, you'll hear the birds. That's a reflection of how you're feeling. You're feeling happy. If you're hearing like a crow, or if you're hearing some stuff, you're hearing some things that you're still processing. You haven't gone to that stillness yet. You're hearing. You can interpret this in your own manner, but you'll start to hear these birds, and you'll say, for me, I have programmed myself to hear things to help me stay balanced, right? You can say that. So I will hear the birds saying things that I would like to hear, and the chirping noise, I now interpret it as my thoughts. I hear my thoughts. You hear, oh, that sounded dee 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 dee. Oh, I heard that. That sounded like right. And so if I was on a thought and then I hear a bird, I hear the bird saying right, to guide me to not feel any of that programming thought that would have had maybe influenced my decision on the authentic thought I was having. Old programming thought forms would have said, oh, maybe this thought, maybe that thought, maybe this ain't thought for me. You say, nah, it's all garbage with that programming, nah. Right. That's right. Keep going with that thought. The birds help me continue my pathway. Same thing with you just start noticing things. So if you've gotten rid of all the garbage that was encased around us, we were calcified with garbage, and now all your garbage is gone. Now you have all this free ways of programming your reality. You're at the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon is the universe, and now you're at the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon. You can imagine like a ship being the universe, and you're the pilot of your universe now. You're driving your universe now, and instead of you going with the effects that are generated in your universe, you are now taking action to generate effects. You're not just going with the effects that are being generated by the thought patterns you were programmed with, and now those thought patterns are generating effects, and now you happen to role with the effects, you're now generating actions that now produce effects that you now get to enjoy. And now, so that way you'll be able to, you really get to create your reality. You create your reality. Create the functionality in your reality. Right. You see in The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, all the Greek codes, green binary codes, little streams of light codes coming down. That's all this. Except I wouldn't say it's green. You could interpret it as green. I myself been interpreting it as blue, and some days I interpret it as gold. Gold number codes. You see it as you sun gaze, and then they got sun gazing. You know, for anyone who's never sun gazed before, it's amazing. You fill yourself with light. You fill yourself with light, and then you'll see everything as glitter. And you see everything as glitter. That's because it really is. It really is light. Everything is light. They dull their eyes down, and then no one was ever sun gazed, and they put a bunch of lies up to say it harm your eyes and does this and does that. It's all lies. So when you sun gaze, you start being able to see the reality like Neo. You see that goldness. You know when Neo's when his eyes go on him, but he says, "I can still see," and you see all that gold. When you sun gaze, you start seeing it like the gold. You see the buildings as gold light. You don't see them as bricks anymore. You see them as gold light. And when you see them as light, they are a mirage. Matter isn't real. Matter isn't real. Okay? Matter is a mirage. So when you are so charged up and your awareness is so expanding, ever expanding, limitless awareness, infinite awareness, and then you're looking at matter. Matter is an illusion. Go watch some David Icke's videos. He explains it exceptionally on how everything is light, everything is thought, and that it's just the way your brain decodes it. And if you recode your brain, then you can recode the way you interpret stuff. And matter is a hallucination. You know what I'm saying? When you start seeing matter as light, it starts to bend before your eyes. It starts to wobble like a mirage. You know, you'd be walking down the street and the sun be hitting the concrete, and you see that like little propane, gassy, light, invisibility looking image on the concrete. It's again like if you're going down the desert and you see that long road and you're looking out maybe 50 feet, you see like on the concrete it's all like miragey. Well, when you're looking at the buildings are like a mirage. The only reason they're physical is because you unconsciously have been programmed to interpret them, and everything else is only physicality. There is no such thing as physicality. Physicality is just a setting that you can interpret things as. You can interpret them as anything, the infinite mind. And so they had us interpreting everything as this little grain of physicality, when in a vast ocean of infinite interpretations of how things can be interpreted, they limited it all down to this one thing called physicality, and that's now your whole reality. Everything is knock knock. This is solid. It's a lie. So when you start sun gazing, you'll be able to see them. You'll see it bend. You know, even the trees, even though Gaia is completely real, it's just the way the human being is comprehending the forms of stars, the forms of universe, forms of galaxies, forms of planets. Those are only the ways the human mind has been conditioned to look at them. So you get that infinite awareness, you'll see the planet differently. You'll see, if you see this whole game, it's just like this. But then when you see it on this level, it looks like this. And then you even go up and say that it's gone out this way and this way. And now you look at the levels on this level of awareness and say, well, it looks like this. Right. Again, any questions, leave them down below. I love to answer them, put my spin on them. This is Chris. Thanks for watching. Peace.